Hi, everyone, and a very warm welcome to all of you to this episode of All Things Lean with your host, Madhulika Rajahan. In our last episode, we talked about how to turn prospects into users. In today's episode, we will discuss the principles of service design thinking and building a better service. Service design is all about taking a service and making it meet the users and customers' need for that service. It can be used to improve an existing service or to create a new service from scratch. In order to adapt to service design, a UX designer will need to understand the basic principles of service design thinking and be able to focus on them when creating services. The principles here, which we'll talk about, are taken from the design ethos of Design for Services, an organization that is committed to developing service design and promoting business transformation. These are widely accepted in the commercial sector as well. When it comes to service design, it can help to remember that a design isn't finished until somebody is using it. It is said by Brenda Laurel, a designer at MIT. The general principles of service design are to focus the designer's attention on generic requirements of all services. They are complemented by principles that relate to process design, organizational design, information design, and technology design. We will come to these complementary principles later. Let's first discuss the general principles of service design. Services should be designed based on a genuine comprehension of the purpose of the service, the demand for the service, and the ability of the service provider to deliver that service. Services should be designed based on a customer need rather than the internal needs of the business. It should be designed to deliver a unified and efficient system rather than a component by component, which can lead to a poor overall service performance. It should be based on creating value for users and customers and to be as efficient and effective as possible. On the understanding that special events, those that cause variation in the general processes, will be treated as common events and the processes designed to accommodate them. It should always be designed with input from the users of the service and should be prototyped before being developed in full. Services must be designed in conjunction with a clear business case and a model. They should be developed as a minimum viable service or MVS and then developed. They can then be iterated and improved to add additional value based on user or customer feedback. Services should be designed and delivered in collaboration with all relevant stakeholders, both external and internal. Now let's talk about process design principles for service design. Much of service design is found in the design of processes, both internal and external. And these principles underpin that any activity that fails to add value for customers should be eliminated or minimized. Work is always structured around the process and not around internal constructs such as functions, geography, products, etc. Work should not be fragmented unless absolutely necessary. This enables accountability and responsibility from a single individual and reduces delays, reworks. It encourages creativity, innovation, and ownership of work. Processes should be as simple as possible. Focus on reducing the process step, handovers, rules, and controls. Wherever possible, the owner of the process should have control over how it is delivered. It should reflect customer needs, and many versions of a process are acceptable if customers have different needs. Process variation should be kept to a minimum. Process dependencies should also be kept to a minimum. Process should be internalized rather than overtly decomposed. That is, training is better than work instructions. Process breaks and delays must be kept to a minimum. Reconciliations, controls, and inspection of a process must be kept to a minimum. KPIs for processes will only measure things that matter. Now let's talk about organization design principles for service design. People are key to service delivery, and some basic principles of organizations can help them realize their full potential. Work groups are to be organized so that they match the process and the competencies required. Individual workers will be given sufficient autonomy to make useful decisions. Work will take place in a location where it is done with most efficiency. Now let's come to information design principles for service design. Information flow is key to delivering high quality services. If people don't know what they're supposed to do and when they're supposed to know it, service suffers. These are simple principles of information design in service design. Data shall be normalized between the organization and its customers and within the organization itself. Data shall be easy to transfer and be reusable within the organization and within the partner network. Whenever possible, data entry shall be avoided and be replaced by data lookup or selection and confirmation utilities instead. Now let's talk about the technology design principle for service design. Technology design principles are used to support the delivery of service. They include technology that should always be used to enable a service. It should not be the driver of a service. It should be pulled into a service design rather than be pushed into it. Technology design is to be flexible enough and agile enough to allow fast modifications in face of changing customer requirements. To sum up, service design principles support the development of services which deliver high quality experiences to users and customers. Many of these principles are similar to principles already employed in UX design, and it should be relatively easy for an experienced UX designer in products to transition to UX designs for services. With this, we come to an end to this episode of All Things Lean. Don't forget to like and subscribe and comment in the comment box. Until next time, this is your host, Madhulika Rajohan, signing off. Have a wonderful day ahead.